If ever a devil was born without a pair of horns, it was you.
Greetings from Mickey, Aurora, and from me, from Castle Goring. Well, I hope you have been having as nice a Christmas as I have been having. One or two people have asked me to post pictures, especially of the cats. So at the end of this, I'm going to ask Sean to post a photograph of Augusta, Aurora, and gorgeous Lord Baron. And I will do, say, maybe one or two of us at Christmas dinner, and then of some of us in the entresol on a Boxing Day. Okay, so give you a little flavour if you are interested. And that aside, I will plunge in because we have a bit of ground to cover. So we'll start with Donna relaxing. Well, Lady C, colour me stupid over here in America. I've listened to your explanation twice, and I still do not know what the purpose was for Meghan to change the birth certificate. I just don't understand what's the difference from her Christian names to her title names. What difference did that make on the birth certificate? Somebody please inform me. Donna relaxing. On the original birth certificate that Harry informed the registrar about, he stated that the woman who gave birth to Archie at the Portland Hospital on the 6th of May 2019 was Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex, the Duchess of Sussex. And that her Christian names were Rachel Meghan and that her maiden name was Markle. Meghan changed that a few weeks later to remove her Christian names. She said the palace forced her to do it. The palace said they had nothing to do with it. What difference did that make on the birth certificate? Well, it depends how you look at it. One interpretation is that a woman identifying herself as Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex gave a birth to that child at the Portland Hospital. But that woman's Christian names were not Rachel Meghan. So the Christian names had to be removed, as that was false information. If it wasn't inaccurate, there was no need to remove them. That's one interpretation. Another one is that Meghan was laying the ground. Now, Meghan is very good at laying the ground. She went to HR to speak about her ideations in a move to engineer their departure from the United Kingdom to the United States. So Meghan is very good at laying down bricks in the courtyard of her game playing. Great opportunists will do something that's opaque, that's muddy, that doesn't quite make sense, so that down the line they can spin it in one direction or the other. Did the palace tell her that she had to remove her Christian names because they had discovered that whoever it was who gave birth to that child was not Rachel Meghan, but it was somebody who identified as the Duchess of Sussex? That's, on the face of it, the most logical explanation. But the palace says they had nothing to do with it, which means that Meghan needed to do something so that down the line, whether it's 2 years, 8 years, 10 years, 30 years, from the moment that she got the birth certificate amended, she could say, oh, well, I had to do something because I was made to do it, because and one tail left eye. Sorry. Mickey, Aurora, please, rush to the refrigerator. Get me some Coke. Does it not add up? Not totally. But then, with people like that, nothing adds up totally. That's how you know that things, oops, sorry, I'm pushing the cushion properly, that things are fishy. And with Meghan, nothing adds up. But, you see, in the very confusion, she can flip it and turn it, or thinks she can turn it any way she pleases. But all these games used to work when she was a small-time operator. But now that she's a big-time operator in the big bad world, she's so transparent that she doesn't deceive anybody except herself and one or two people like Abigail Spencer and Ted Sarandos. Hot Scott says, Lady C, what do you make of those close to Harry, in quotation marks, telling People magazine that, quotation marks, the monarch no longer takes his younger son's calls and is also not responding to his letters. He gets unavailable right now. His calls go unanswered. He has tried to reach out about the king's health, but those calls go unanswered too. Well, what a pity fest. Poor H. My heart bleeds for him. All I want to do is wish Pa well, and then tell Oprah about it, and Gail, and confide in People magazine, and that mean old Pa. Not only did he take away my security, and not only has he cut my allowance, but he won't even take my calls because he's worried that anything I say will be twisted. Sorry, anything he says I will twist. No, would I do that? Would I accuse him of being a racist? Would I accuse my beloved sister-in-law, Catherine, of being a racist? No, of course I wouldn't. I leave that up to Meg's baby and Amit scabies. Well, I think that sort of answers the question, doesn't it? But if you want a little bit more elucidation, Harry pushed himself into the picture when Charles's diagnosis was first made. He didn't inform them that he was coming until he was en route and unstoppable. Nobody wants to see Harry. As long as Harry is with Meghan, as long as Harry's pond is being poisoned, by that stream of vitriol. Nobody wants to have anything to do with Harold. They don't want to know. But isn't it interesting that he or she will have leaked that to People magazine to get sympathy? But it's not really getting sympathy. What it's showing is how totally déclassé and out of the loop he is. So that was a really stupid leak. But then Harry and Meghan have made a whole load of stupid leaks. You could almost say they are as incontinent as an 8-month-old baby, and as directed as an 8-month-old baby would be. Moll says, "Dear Lady C, this time last year you predicted the downfall of Harry and Meghan Markle in 2024. Although things have unravelled slowly, they have indeed plunged from the lofty perch they installed themselves on. I would be interested to know if you can see them being removed from the royal website in 2025. I'm not a fortune teller. I go to great pains to say I do not make predictions. What I will say is, if the king were truly clever, he would remove Harry and Meghan from that website. Now, to do so without creating a great ruction, they would most likely remove Prince Andrew as well. I think Prince Andrew should remain, because Prince Andrew was a very able fighter during the Falklands War, and Prince Andrew has been found guilty of nothing except being tiresome, difficult, and unpopular, and he has been condemned in the court of public opinion, to a large extent fed by the press, who always need to have somebody that they can get their teeth into, and he's been very convenient. And I will concede a lot of what he does it makes it easier for them to do the dirty on him. But it doesn't alter the fact he's committed no crime and he has never been disloyal. We can't say the same for Harry and Meghan. Also, there's no doubt about where Prince Andrew's daughters came from and how they came into being. There's no question that they were delivered by the Stork or FedEx or some other delivery service. There's no doubt. And those girls have behaved pretty well. We'll skip the parents. But let's see what happens. It would be a very advisable move to remove Harry and Meghan from the royal family website. Will they do it? If they do it at all, it's going to be so quietly done, and only when they feel they absolutely have to do it, and that they can get away with it without creating too many ructions. Let's put it that way. Orioles fan says. What's Orioles? I'm not sure. Anyway, dear Lady C, King Charles III says we need to listen to each other, but he is welcoming in an Islamic culture and religion that hates England, that doesn't listen to anybody and has no belief in peace. What do you think the solution is for England and the world? Thank you so much. Love to you, Carla. Well, okay, I think you're most likely making an allusion to the King's Christmas speech. Well, the King also, of course, respects all faiths. And I will say that that Islam has a very bad reputation undeservedly, because the average Muslim, the majority of Muslims, they are not fanatics. What you are calling the Islamic culture is the fanatics within the religion. And yes, they have one or two fanatical states. There is Iran, which, let's remember, the theocracy was planted by the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and France. They even hired a jet to get Khomeini from Paris to Tehran, filled with journalists. I do not think that Islam is the problem. I think radical Islam is a problem, but Islam itself is not. And let's remember, we have had fundamentalist Christians who have behaved in an equally intolerant way. Oliver Cromwell, the Puritans, not only in England under the Lord Protector from 1649 to, well, he died in 1659, but in 1660, then you had the Puritans in the United States of America, the Salem witch hunt, very well known. So we have had our problems as well with extremes of Christianity. I think if we listen to what Charles said in his speech, and if we basically listen to what he's saying, he is saying we should respect all religions and everybody's belief system. But the corollary of that is that they are supposed to respect ours as well. He's not trying to hand over our liberty to Islamic fundamentalists. Sorry, he's not. And, you know, his speech was really very measured. He was speaking about listening, that we should listen to each other. He was speaking about peace on earth. And then he had that choral group, the Inner Voices. And I mean, yes, Charles is a little bit woke on occasion, and so's William. But I don't think they are the extremists that some people fear they might be. And let us remember that Jesus is a prophet of Islam, and that Islam is an outgrowth of Christianity, which is an outgrowth of Judaism, and the holy book is respected by the Muslims as well. They do not actually denigrate Christianity to the extent I'm speaking about the religion properly and the moderates within it. They do not actually, they're not the fanatics that some people seem to think they are. So I hope that answers the questions. PLTCO says, Lady C, you're all over Twitter for encouraging Nigel Farage to sue Meghan&Archie. May we please have your rationale? Well, okay. Yes, I did post something on X. In fact, maybe I can read out what I posted, if I can get to it, because I am very untechnological, I have to tell you, and I am not even sure where it is. Ah, there it is. Let's see if it comes to life. Oh dear, how do I get to it? I'm not even sure that I know how to get to it. It's, oh dear, I'm not sure I know how to get to it, sorry. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Oh, I don't know how to do this, sorry. Sorry, I'm stymied by technology. Yes, I did post something saying that, well, I think it's outrageous that, to those of you who don't know, Badenoch is the newly elected head of the Conservative Party, and she had the unmitigated gall to accuse Nigel Farage of lying about the number of members he has in the Reform Party, because there are now more members of the Reform Party than there are in the Conservative Party. And she outright accused him of lying and effectively said he's perpetrating a fraud upon the public. And he has quite rightly said he's going to do something. She's going to live to regret it. And he hasn't quite made up his mind yet what he's going to do, but he will do something, and that she should apologize. Well, I made the point in my tweet that this is yet another instance of the nasty political games that we, the people, do not approve of, and why we have been turning our backs on the mainstream parties. Now, it's outrageous that the leader of the Conservative Party would accuse the leader of the Reform Party of falsifying figures. I mean, that is defamatory. There are no two ways about it. And let us see what happens. I mean, the Conservative Party and the Labour Party. The Conservative Party is now Labour Light. It's not the Conservative Party anymore. It is Labour Light. And one of the leading Conservatives about 2 months ago said, when there was talk that the party should maybe move somewhere away from being centre-left to centre-right. Oh, no, we mustn't go to the right. We'll never get re-elected. Well, I've got news for them. They're never going to get re-elected as long as they are a centre-left party, because we now have the choice between the Conservatives, who are centre-left, and Labour, who are centre more extreme left. And we have no party save for the Reform Party that would be right of centre but still centre. Now I am, and I've always said it, I am a liberal conservative, small l, small c. So my views accord with conserving that which is desirable and moving on and improving that which needs to be improved. And I certainly believe in liberal policies. I believe in freedom of speech, which the Conservatives, it has to be said, have gone out of their way to hammer while they were in government. So let's be clear about that. They have also hammered the prosperity of this country. They have made a series of cack-handed, plain, plumb, stupid moves. I used to be a member of the Conservative Party. They still send me stuff as if I am a member of the Conservative Party. I'm not. I have now joined the Reform Party. I did it earlier this week or last week. Anyway, whenever. I did it a few days ago. And I hope that Nigel Farage will get in and he will live up to his promises, and that he will institute conservative liberal policies. He believes in freedom of speech. He believes in people working for their living and keeping as much of their money as it is possible for them to keep. He does not believe in all of these loony leftist policies, and nor do I. I don't see why I, at my age, should be working sometimes till 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning for my hard-earned money to go to support people who've never worked, don't intend to work, and think that I should support them. I'm sorry. Am I their slave? Because that's what it amounts to. So anyway, that's my take on it. So I think he should sue her. I said it on my tweet. I think he should sue her. I really do think he should sue her. Politicians need to understand that we, the public, demand that they deliver the goods that they promised us. At the moment, they are effectively thieves. They are like a shopkeeper. You go into the shop, you say, "Oh, can I please have a sable coat?" And they say, "Oh, yes, I'll give you a sable coat. A really good deal on it." And they show you the coat, a fabulous sable. You feel just wonderful. You pay them the money. They wrap it up. You bring it home. And it's a fake. And the dirty games that politicians play should be brought to a stop. That's my take on it. We should have responsible, respectful politicians in power, both opposition and governing. So that's my take on it. Mona Serwin says, Donald Trump, Man of the Year. I'm not sure the people of Greenland will agree. Well, he's mooted buying Greenland from Denmark. Denmark says Greenland is not for sale. He's also said that the Panama Canal has their charges for American ships are too high, and he wants to take over the Panama Canal again. He also said that, suggested that Canada become the latest state of the United States of America. That was a joke. You know, I don't think people understand that Trump says things because he is the ultimate in a game playing politician. So, but he makes no bones about it. Is he serious? I would imagine that a lot of what he says is to unsettle people and gain for his nation's interests the advantage over what he regards as an opponent. Now, he wasn't saying that he wants to seize Canada. He was saying that if Canada doesn't like the tariffs, they can become a part of the United States. But he was saying he wants to impose tariffs. Now, I know that Mexicans are rather nervous of him as well. I don't think he's going to be invading Greenland anytime soon. I would be very surprised if he were ill-advised enough to seize the Panama Canal. And I don't think he's going to be seizing Canada. I think both he and Boris Johnson have a sort of wild streak in them that actually is good for a political leader to have, because it keeps his opponents, and I'm not referring to his political opponents, I'm referring to national opponents, on the hop, because they never quite know, is he really serious? Will he do it? Won't he do it? And I actually think that's a very healthy thing for a leader to have. A leader should be somewhat opaque, somewhat apparently unpredictable, but sound and solid in the execution. And Kaiser Wilhelm was like that as well. Big talk, not very big actions. But Trump is blunderbuss, but he basically, and he showed it the last time around, and he says it this time, he basically is about harmony and peace, but he always wants to cut the best deal for the United States of America. And that really is his duty as the head of state of the United States. It will be his duty. I personally think it's best that a good deal means that nobody gets so much and everybody else gets so little that there's dissatisfaction. But Trump is basically a deal maker, and it unsettles a lot of people, especially people who know nothing about business. And I'm afraid that's an awful lot of people in the world, including most politicians nowadays and most journalists. They don't know anything about making money. They don't know anything about cutting a good deal. They only know about being a part of the whole and members of the club. Well, each head of state or each political leader who should have his nation's interests paramount, but he should also have the interests of the world at large paramount as well. And if Trump really is serious about wanting peace, I think that's good. We'll wait and see. Catherine Brockman says, "Greetings from Canada, Lady C. May I ask if you might be willing to give your thoughts on Pierre Poilievre's letter to the Governor General of Canada on Friday? Do you think that King Charles will be informed? Will King Charles try to help us? I think that many Canadians might wonder why we remain members of the Commonwealth if he does nothing now. What's the point in him being our head of state? Kindest regards, Kate." Well, if I mean, the reason why Canada has the British monarch as the head of state is because of historical tradition. Doubtless, the leader of the opposition's letter will have been sent via the Governor General, because it was sent to the Governor General, and she will have sent it to the King via his private secretary. She will have sent it. There's a mechanism for, and of course the King knows about it, but it's really up to the Canadians to solve the problem. And if the leader of the opposition and the other politically opposition party leader to whom the letter was also sent, if they join forces, they should be able to they should be able to force the issue and have a vote of no confidence in Parliament. That's how it's done. The King is not there that every time there is a political crisis that can be solved within the parameters of the democratic tradition. The King is not there to ride in and save the day. The King is there to create sufficient of a vacuum to prevent any one political leader from becoming so powerful that he or she assumes dictatorial powers. Now, an awful lot of people in Canada have been complaining that Justin Trudeau has, if not done that, sailed pretty close to that wind. But there are constitutional mechanisms in place in Canada at the moment where the King should not have to. And in fact, it would be undesirable for the King. If every time there's a political issue that blows up, that is of sufficient significance, that a government is going to fall, the King got involved, believe me, people would be up in arms and saying the King is a dictator. So you can't have that. So he shouldn't do anything overtly, but you can depend on it. Behind the scenes, he will be counseling that everybody behave in accordance with this Canadian Constitution. Justin Trudeau's situation is not unique. There are many politicians who have clung on to power. Look at Biden at the moment. He's clinging on to power. He's been declared incompetent some time ago for the purposes of a lawsuit, and he was declared not competent enough to stand for re-election, but he's still president. And I think that's actually a good thing, incidentally, in the circumstances that exist at the moment. But Trudeau has made himself very unpopular, but the system will play out. And you can't have a monarch constantly interfering with the political system. It's up to the politicians and the courts to make sure that the system works properly. And if it turns out it doesn't, then you, the Canadian people, need to have a hue and cry and get laws put in place so that a situation that becomes a stalemate does not ever happen again. It's as simple as that. But you only have a few more months to wait. No matter what happens, you don't have that long to wait. His term of government is coming to an end. Mary Allen says, they didn't show any love and respect for Harry before he met Meghan. They knew how badly the tragic loss of his mother affected him. No telling what would have happened to Harry if he had not married a strong, independent, non-royal, courageous woman like Meghan, with her own money and career. They gave Harry, who is the most courageous of them all, the lower jobs they didn't want. Working in Africa all the time? Somebody had to tell the whole truth so Harry could have healing and peace of mind and move on with his life! ! Harry's dad did whatever he wanted to Diana and his sons to have the life he wanted with the woman of his choice. Harry's brother is following in their father's footsteps! Harry did whatever he needed to do to attain peace and a happier life with a woman who loved him and courageously showed him how to do it! So, all of the men got what they wanted! Why do people have a problem with their personal lives and business? Live and let live to have peace in these perilous times. Well, Mary L. Allen, thank you for that. I am sure that if your interpretation had been accurate, that we wouldn't have had to remonstrate with Harry for telling any of the lies he has told and backed Meghan up in. And there's a heck of a difference between being courageous and brazen. She had her own money. What money? She didn't even own a house. All the money she earned, and it wasn't that much, it was only $50,000 an episode, she plowed into promoting herself and getting PR. She had no major investments. She had no money. She had no real investments. Her investment was in herself. And she was good at that. And she certainly succeeded well. She ended from being a cheap and vulgar hustler to a cheap and vulgar royal duchess. Harry, had he left, had he not betrayed his family, had he not traduced his family, had he not ruined with his and his wife's actions the last days of his supposedly beloved grandfather's life, who had to be punished because he had said to Harry, "We don't marry actresses, we simply step out with them." So he had to be punished as he was dying. And Queen Elizabeth, she had to be punished as well for the last years of her life, because she had not been in favour of the marriage either. Well, yes, and you say he did the jobs they didn't want? Well, if I recall correctly, they set up Invictus and allowed him to pretend that he had set it up, and he's still doing it. He did things that he was supposedly liking and had an interest in. I don't see where he was farmed off with jobs that he didn't like. You make out that they didn't want working in Africa all the time. Well, he did. He'd like to work in Africa. It's his part African wife who is too great and grand to go back to her roots. Oh, no. Those roots have got to be kept tightly straight and straightened. In more ways than one. I'm glad you admire him so much. Next thing we will be doing is starting the Judas Iscariot Awards for the most brazen traitor. And if you're truly a great traitor, then you will get a reward. Maybe 30 pieces of gold this time. But I agree with you. Live and let live to have peace in these perilous times. Nobody was decrying Harry and Meghan the opportunity to depart and live their life in peace. What people have decried is their attempt to defame and abuse those who did not deserve it, just so they could make money and justify their bitterness because the late Queen refused to allow them to be half in and half out, and refused to allow Meghan to treat the royal family as if it were some stall in a souk, and she were the arch trader of all times. So I think that's my opinion on it. And nobody criticized Harry. Nobody said to Harry, "No, you can't leave." Harry and Meghan left very nastily, and they have moaned and groaned and complained ever since then about how hard done by they are. They are two of the most privileged people on earth. You can have sympathy for them, that's your right, and I'm delighted to see that you're far more generous-spirited than I am. I save my sympathy for those who deserve it. And certainly I do not regard fitting to endow my sympathy to two of the most privileged people on earth, who are also two of the biggest ingrates on earth. and who are two of the most flagrant liars on earth. So, and you think Meghan was courageous? If she's so courageous, why does she always sneak around and do everything? And why doesn't she come right out and say it? Why does she always suggest courageous? She has brass neck, not courage. And on that note, I'll say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, please keep the questions and comments coming in so I will know what you would like us to be speaking about. Okay? Thank you so much. Take good care and Godspeed. And if you have truly enjoyed this, would you care to like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and God bless. Bye-bye. Video.
If I get
A little bit better, but not really much better.
A little bit tired.
Some of them are in the church, yes.
because they cover me.
Okay.
So
So,
I haven't given them.
it's not good. It's not good because of the wretched
She's in Los Angeles, not in San Francisco.